Alrighty. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Marian University Marian University Debate's second showcase of 2020. We are so excited to be with you today to discuss important topics on our campus. I am today's moderator, junior on the debate team, Ben Wilson. I am a double major in communication and religious education and will be moderating today's debate. In today's debate, we are debating the resolution, Marian University values achievement over safety. Representing the affirmative side of today's resolution is Matt Marshall and Enrique Pena. On the negative side is Hadley Hawkins and Lydia Schock. A little bit about Matt Marshall. He is a senior and a biology major here at Marian University. So today, Matt, let's go ahead and kick it off with you for your 3-minute constructive.
Okay, can you hear me? Excellent. Well, thank you, Ben, for that intro. I will get right into it. So I am on the affirmative for today's debate, and what we are debating, as Ben previously mentioned, is Marian University values achievement over safety. And just for anyone who's not in the know, being on the affirmative means I'm arguing the truth of that statement. Basically, I'm saying that Marian University does indeed value achievement over safety. Today, for today's debate, I have two arguments that I will be making to try to prove that point to, well, everyone watching. The first of which is that the safest option at this point is online only, and the fact that we're still in person is against our safety. And the second of which is our lackluster COVID response, kind of in general. So first things first, the safest option is online only. The fact that we are still in person proves that Marian University values our achievements over our safety. Now, according to the New York Times article on April 9, 2020, in-person classes are by far the most effective, at least according to current research. What this means in terms of, what Marian University is doing is clearly we are in person, we have in-person classes. However, as I've mentioned, it would be safest to us as students to not be in contact with, 20 plus people every time we go into class. Therefore, the fact that we're in person demonstrates that they value the good that we're getting out of those lessons and the achievements that we might give from them more than they value the safety that would be keeping us isolated and away from the general population. The second thing I want to talk about is the COVID response and how we frankly just don't have it as good as some other places. According to Time on October 14, 2020, Sweden has become a model kind of worldwide for looking at how to deal with COVID because they haven't really shut down all that much. But according to that New York Times article from today, I should mention, it's kind of a disaster if you really look at the nitty gritty. So why has it become such a strong model? The answer is they have safety nets. They have as much leave from work as you need. They have generalized medicine. You can, or universal healthcare, whatever you want to call it. They can get healthcare whenever they need it. Basically, if they get COVID, they're taken care of. Here, if we get COVID, we're left to our own devices. You better hope you have health insurance, and you better hope your job's going to let you off. For those two reasons, that is why Marian University values our achievements over our safety.
All righty, thank you, Matt. Up next, speaking in the negation, we have junior on the team, Hadley Hawkins, who is a who is a major in elementary education. Hadley?
Thanks, Ben. I'm starting time now. Just to clarify, restating the resolution, today's resolution is Marian University values achievement over safety. I'm in the negation, which means today my job is to show you that safety is valued either equally to achievement or ahead of achievement. Throughout my case, I think I will address some of Matt's arguments that he brought forward as well. So please pay attention to my COVID point in particular. All of my arguments fall under one large contention today, and that contention is Marian is a high-achieving university because we value safety as fundamental to our success. Students cannot experience achievements at Marian if the school does not create a safe atmosphere that is conducive to those academic, athletic, and social achievements. I'd like to clarify, safety is so much bigger than just COVID. And while in a COVID world, we see that safety is heavily involved with COVID, it is not isolated to that definition. So today I'm defining safety as all safeties, including emotional, physical, and health safety. So moving into the COVID point first, COVID-19 precautions that the university have opened up allow us to base achievement on safety, showing us that we do value safety. Because as Matt pointed out, that online classes are not equivalent to in-person learning experiences, we see that it is very important that we create a safe environment in order to still have a chance to achieve academic success. But we also see that by opening up campus with precautions, including Campus Shield app, weekly reports that keep us informed and educated, requiring wiping down tables upon entry and leaving classrooms, etc., we see that athletic and social achievements can therefore take precedent when they otherwise would not in a digital world. Athletes are able to compete in competitions again. Social environments are allowed to happen when they otherwise would not because of COVID precautions that the university has taken in place. My second point is that the Marian University Police Department is a huge asset for physical safety on campus. Marian's website tells us that we have 24-hour, 7 days a week patrol protection on campus, and these police department officers are fully trained with the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy, the same requirement that any county officer would go under. Additionally, these measures are working. According to 2019's College Factual Report, we see that we only had 62 incidents of crime reported on our campus, and only 9% of those were worthy of an arrest. Meanwhile, Butler University had 32% of their incidents, which they had a higher amount of incidents, that ended in arrests in some form. We see that compared to other universities in our area, we are achieving our goal of safety that then allows achievement to be possible. And then third, we see that emotional safety is also valued, with Title IX being a primary form of that. That allows protection for students, that prohibits them discrimination against gender, ability, race, and protects them in cases of sexual assault and harassment.
Thank you, Hadley.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Hadley, for that wonderful addition to today's debate. Up next on the affirmative side, we have Senior Enrique Pina, who is a double major in mechanical engineering and mathematics. Enrique?
Thank you, Ben. So I am for the resolution of Marian University values achievement over safety. I am for the affirmative, so I am here to prove that Marian does indeed value achievement over safety. And since the resolution is in present tense, I will talk about what is happening in the present now as happened in the past. Student state, right now we're living in a COVID world. So my main point is going to be about COVID. And these points about COVID, I'm going to talk about how Marian has given false promises to their students and how they have had a bad response to COVID happening on campus. So talk about how Marian has given false promises to the students. In the summer, we were there was a student hall being held, town hall being held for all students to join in and talk about everything. In this town halls, we were promised a couple of things. The ones that stuck out were mostly masks will be worn on campus at all times, and that will be enforced, and that they will be taking care of the students if that got sick. In these in the following months, as COVID prevailed through campus, we have seen to the opposite things, with emails being sent out saying that if you live within 50 miles of campus, you are to be sent home if you get sick, and that by itself is not valuing safety, because according to the CDC and Fauci, and according to an article on NBC saying that is the incorrect move, that schools need to stop doing that to respond to COVID. And also talking about this, when we talk about the mask being enforced, there has been no official policy to take care of masks not being worn within the building, as to where the police of Marian have said that they have received no directions to how to handle people without masks, and that teachers have not been given anything official. And that is very important due to with Marian, and that's very important to stop the COVID, because according to a USF.EU article, that mask is one of the most effective ways to stop the spread of COVID-19 and to keep people safe. And that is why you should vote for affirmation today. Thank you.
Alrighty, thank you, Enrique. All right, finally for our constructives, rounding off the negative, we have first year Lydia Schock, who is a double major in sociology and social work. Lydia?
All right, starting time now. I am also on the negative for the resolution of Marian University values achievement over safety. And like Hadley, I'm going to talk about physical safety going beyond COVID. So my two contentions today are going to be physical safety and COVID safety. Starting off with physical safety, I am talking about the safety of our physical bodies. So I just want to start off by saying, according to the Marian website, the Marian University Police Department mission statement says that they will provide for the well-being of the public in order to enhance the quality of academic life. This shows that campus safety is dedicated to providing a safe environment so that we can be successful. Without safety, we cannot be successful. Campus safety is available 24/7. Academic help is not available every day of the week, all day. MU Police Department is constantly ready for any emergency that they may be presented with. There are emergency procedures in place for many scenarios, even ones that don't happen around Indiana that much, such as earthquakes. There are blue emergency buttons located all around campus for immediate help. Campus safety includes enforcement of regulating underage drinking, substance abuse, weapons, and other things requiring police assistance. These crimes, underage drinking, substance abuse, halt student learning. They distract us, and with MUPD staying on top of that, students can focus on their learning. The Campus Safety app, our students are required to have it, and it includes such things as a direct call to campus safety or 911 if you're off campus, submitting a tip, friend watch, and emergency procedures. These all help us feel safe so that we can achieve. We feel safe in our environment so that we are comfortable and not worried about our own safety so that we can achieve and we can succeed in the best way we can. Now on to COVID safety. If Marian were to remain closed, there would be little to no learning. Opening up with procedures in place exemplifies that Marian values student achievement, but wants us to remain safe. They want us to learn, but they value our safety over everything. We are also required to get a flu shot by November 1st. And according to the CDC, flu season peaks December through February. So we're required to get them before the peak of flu season even starts so that safety is put in place way before that peak season would happen. As Hadley said, they send notifications about coronavirus updates, about infection and spread, so that students do not feel stressed about the environment that they are in, so that they can feel comfortable with their learning environment. And online delivery, there's online delivery for classes and peer services such as the Writing Center and Peer Tutoring Center to eliminate spread and minimize contact. This shows that they care about success, but they care about our health more. If safety wasn't their top priority, then services and classes would be in person to promote the best learning possible. But they want us to learn, but they want us to learn safely. And that's why you can see that there is only one vote, and that is of the negative.
Thank you, Lydia. We will now be moving into the portion of our debate where we get a little more intense. There's going to be some questionings here, and as a matter of fact, I'm getting ready to go around now and ask each debater a question about their case. We will go in reverse order this time, which means, Lydia, I'm going to be coming to you first.
All right.
Okay. Lydia, just looking for a short response here. Have the COVID updates on our Campus Shield app been consistent to everyone? And do you believe Campus Shield is as effective as it's claimed to be?
What do you mean by consistent to everyone?
Does everyone get the same notification every Friday?
As far as I know, they do. I don't actually know. I'm assuming, and I believe that everybody gets it because we all have the same Campus Shield app. And what was the second part of your question? Sorry.
Yeah. Do you believe Campus Shield is as effective as it's being hailed to be?
It's there if we need it, which I think is the most important part, is that it's there if someone were to need that kind of support in a moment of emergency or in a moment in which they don't feel safe. They have an outlet to help feel safe and to help promote safety throughout the campus.
One more quick thing.
Okay.
On Campus Shield, we have a COVID self-assessment that every student who's on campus is supposed to do before they come to school that day. Do you believe that students are utilizing that?
No, I don't, but I believe that we should be.
Alrighty, thank you. All right, next we will be moving on to Enrique. Alrighty. Enrique, you talked about masks and you're constructive. Do you, at the beginning of the school year, every student was issued 2 Marian University masks. Do you believe that those masks are effective in fighting the coronavirus?
Those 2 specific masks?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Do you believe that Marian is doing everything it can do to limit the spread of coronavirus?
No.
What could they be doing?
Offering every class online.
All right. Thank you, Enrique. Hadley. Hadley, you talked a lot about, in your speech about not just COVID safety, but physical safety as well. How is Marian University offering physical safety to students who park across the street and have to walk across 30th Street?
First of all, I'd like to say that's not as much of an issue this year because of the fact that they've expanded our residence halls to a nearby hotel and parking is not as limited. The students who are primarily using that lot are the ones who are going straight over to the med school, which is the nearest building. In addition, that lot is, I know, monitored by the MU Police Department. Again, part of the safety protocols for our campus.
Do you think something different could be done?
I do believe in the future they should move forward, but just because there's a bad policy or policies that don't work with safety doesn't mean our whole safety is prioritized less than achievement. Because at the same time, I do think we're still putting safety as the foundational and first and foremost element of our school.
All righty. And then finally, Matt, do you believe that Marian University supports students who have contracted COVID-19?
I do not believe so.
And what do you think Marian University could be doing differently for those students who have contracted COVID-19?
The problem is if they're not on-campus students, then they get nothing. They need to support students who have to commute, who do not live in the residence halls, who get COVID because they are required to come into class. Same ways, if they have to work to be able to afford the tuition at this school, they should have some kind of financial compensation for getting COVID at the school.
Thank you. Now we're going to move into our rebuttal session. In this session, the debaters will offer rebuttals to their opponent's points that they have heard over the debate, ultimately convincing you why their side is right. For this, we will also go in reverse order, which means we will be starting with our first year, Lydia. Lydia, 3 minutes.
Okay, let me pull up my timer. I'm going to start my time now. Once again, remind everybody, I am on the negation for today's debate, which again, the resolution is Marian University values achievement over safety, which means I am arguing that Marian values safety just as much of achievement, if not more. So I'm just going to get right into these rebuttals. Starting with Matt's first point about the safest option is online only. While that option may be the safest, this is a university, this is still a school that needs to have effective learning. We still have to promote good learning because college gives you degrees that will then put you into the rest of your life. I want my doctors and teachers and lawyers to have effective educations. And hybrid learning, what we're doing now, is the safest and most effective way to learn. While we may still have to be here, we're still learning and we're wearing masks. There are safety procedures in place. There are wipes in every room to wipe down the tables. We are supposed to be wearing masks, no more than X amount of people in a room. So while we may be safest off campus, the best way to promote learning is being here. And then on to, I want to talk about some of Enrique's points. He talked about how Marian's had a bad COVID response, but I'd like to argue that there is no perfect response right now, but we're doing what we can. We're doing what we can with the information we have. Nobody knows everything. Nobody knows how to perfectly combat this, but we're trying to combat it again with promoting effective learning. We're enforcing masks, we're enforcing the use of wipes, and if you feel sick, don't come. The COVID self-assessment, and there's plenty of things put in place for the best response right now. As Marian learns more, they're able to amend their procedures to make it the safest, but Marian is doing the best they can. And I also want to talk about the town hall that Enrique mentioned about how the school promised masks and care of 6 students. But I want to point out how they promised our safety, not our achievement. They were focusing on how to keep us safe versus how to keep us getting straight A's. They want students to feel safe and comfortable and know that they are taken care of here. They want students to know that they're looking out for us and they're doing the best they can with the information they have to make us feel the safest, because when we feel safe, we feel comfortable and we don't feel stressed and we feel calm and we can focus on the learning, which is what we're here to do. Overall, Marian is doing the best they can with the information they have. They're promoting the safest learning and the most effective learning with the information we have. So you can see that after this rebuttal that there is only one vote of the negation.
Thank you, Lydia, for that response. Enrique, 3 minutes, starting now.
Thank you. And again, I would like to restate I am from the affirmation. So I'm saying that Marian does value achievement over safety. And bring up a couple of my opponent's points. One of my opponents, Hadley, brings up the fact of emotional safety and mental safety is what Marian values. But Marian has not always done things to promote this kind of thing. For example, this summer they had a very important political figure show up to campus while people were being arrested from that political figure's campaign. That campaign is called administration. Thank you. And so that does not 100% promote the safety of all your students. My opponent, Lydia, also brings up the fact that flu shots are being made mandatory by November, but there has been no email saying how they're going to check that. That is as much as a promise, saying that as they're going to check the Canvas app in the self-assessment every single time you're on campus, which has not been happening. And even my opponent has admitted that app is not as effective as it could be. My opponent also brings up about about how we need to have classes in person. Marian should be somewhere that we are taught, and you have to go to classes. But wouldn't a good college teach you how to learn on your own, not teach you how to go be taught by a new person every single day? If they are truly preparing us for the adult world outside of college, we need to be able to learn by ourselves, not just when we go to a class for a teacher for an hour every day or so. And lastly, my opponent also brings up the promises that Marian made during this town hall that I brought up. And while I did bring those up, I also did say the promises were made and not kept. They did promise things about safety, but they were not kept in themselves. And that is shown because quoting the town hall, they said, we have thought of responses to every possible situation we can think of. And when we had 30 people on campus get sick and have a bit of those isolation rooms filled, they went ahead and told people to go home. And I can't believe that in this rapidly of spreading of a disease, they didn't think that more than 30 people would get sick on campus. And between all these, this is why you should vote for the information. Thank you.
Thank you, Enrique. All right, next we will be moving back to Hadley. Hadley?
Okay, I'm starting time now. I've got a few points I'd like to bring up, first addressing Enrique's conversation that he just brought forward. First of all, I do know that they are requiring the flu shots to be held through the Student Health Center, which means they will have a record of who has taken the shot and who has not. So that argument is null and void. In addition, I would argue that while studying should be able to be accomplished on your own, specialties in college require specific and explicit instruction, which is why we are in college to learn, to be taught, and that is not something I should have to learn or teach myself. That is something I pay to get that experience of learning. Moving forward, though, into the larger picture. So my biggest point is that safety procedures aren't flawless. I think we can agree that there are loopholes in all the safety procedures, but I will still say they are more readily available than academic services across the board, and the safety procedures allow for academic, athletic, and social achievement that otherwise would not be achieved without those safety procedures. So at the end of the day, safety, even if there are flaws, is still more prioritized than achievement. I'd like to point out that Matt on the affirmative mentioned that coming to classes is a big way to spread the virus. I know in my own personal experience, hybrid and online remote classes have been the norm, and I only have one class that's meeting at all in person. And so to say that that is spreading the virus, I would say is often a flawed statement. And in addition, I know that even when that class that meets in person, when we do group work, my teacher is very adamant that we have masks and are 6 feet apart. If that is not something that is happening in your classes, first of all, I'm very sorry, but that is not the university's fault, because at the end of the day, the university put those policies in place. It's the fault of the teacher and the professor for not upholding those policies. In addition, Enrique mentioned that masks are not being worn at the level they should. However, I will say I've been asked on multiple occasions when my mask has not been on to put my mask on, in particular the library and alumni. So I would say that's also false. And with that, that's a vote for the negation.
Thank you, Hadley. Next, we will finish out our round of rebuttals with Matt. Matt?
All right. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, everyone. So I'm going to get right into it. Once again, I am on the affirmative side for today's resolution. Marian University values achievement over safety. And well, I guess we'll just get right into disputing my opposition's points. The first thing I want to touch on is that Hadley would have you believe that being on campus is totally safe. You shouldn't have any worries as long as you follow what you're supposed to be doing, wear your mask, sanitize things. However, Lydia points out that there are multiple different kinds of safety, physical, as well as COVID safety. And I hate to break it to you, but we still have COVID cases on campus as we speak. In fact, there's 5 of us here today, and if you haven't noticed, because of the backgrounds here, we can't even debate in the same room, let alone like be in the same room with our masks on. This is a safety measure that we have to take because being on campus is not inherently safe right now. There's still so many things that can go wrong, and we have to be safe. We have to be in these separate places. The second thing I'd like to mention is that Lydia does, in fact, once again, agrees with me that online is the safest route we could be taking right now, but then goes on to talk about how this promotes learning, which is not the topic of today's debate. Today's debate is if Marian University values either achievement or safety overall. And my argument is that it values our achievements more than our safety, not about our promoting this learning, which I mentioned when I talked about the New York Times article that, yes, in person is most effective. However, it's not, as she put it, basically nothing. Online learning is still effective. And if you go into your hybrid classes, you still get a little bit of both. Speaking of hybrid classes, Hadley mentioned that she has almost all her classes online. Well, that's great for her. I have all 6 of my classes in person every day of the week. So great, you get to be safe. What about me? I still have to show up in classrooms with between 5 and 20 people who I have to trust are all wearing their masks because the university has said that they can come in. You can blame people for not following the instructions, but at the end of the day, the university is the one responsible for having everyone on campus and overseeing all of these things. So if people aren't being safe and I still have to come in, that's not on me, that's on the university. That is why, among other things, that you today should vote for the affirmative in this instance.
Thank you, Matt. Our next part of the debate tonight is going to be a grand cross-examination in which I will be asking a series of questions to our competitors today. For our first question, I'm going to be asking this one first to Enrique, and then I'd like Lydia to follow up and give her own answer. Enrique, we'll start with you. There's been a lot of discussion in tonight's debate about Campus Shield, the app that everyone is mandated to have on their phone in order to attend Marian University. Do you believe Campus Shield is effective, and has it been as effective as it has been hailed?
In aspects of COVID or just in general?
Yes, on COVID.
Do I think Campus Shield has been effective in COVID? No. And has it been more as effective as Hail? Definitely not.
Can you repeat the question just so I can get both parts?
Yes, absolutely. We're talking about Campus Shield here. Has it been effective with COVID, and has it been as effective as it's been Hail?
I think the main part about the Campus Shield is that we get weekly notifications of the state of COVID on our campus, who has it in regards to students and staff, who's in isolation, who's out of isolation, who's positive. And honestly, this gives me an idea of where the campus is at. At the beginning of the semester, I was not convinced we were going to make it to the end of September, let alone to, October 14th. I was convinced we were going to be out. We were going to be sent home. But looking at that app, I can see that we are taking this and handling this as best as we can. And that app Campus Shield's weekly notifications calms my nerves about coronavirus. And I know it does for others too. So I would argue that yes, it has been effective.
All right, thank you. This next question will be going to Hadley and Matt. Let's see. Hadley, we'll start with you. Hadley, Marian University just announced a $25 million plus plan to build a School of Engineering building. How does this fit within your thesis that Marian values achievement and safety equally, or safety more than achievement?
Yeah, I definitely think, first of all, to argue that by the way I framed my debate, that we would see that I was referencing more of the collective achievements academically, socially, and athletically among students. So in many ways, it's a different form of achievement. But I do think that the school, yet again, would not have been able to been built sorry, let me backtrack and set the scene a little bit better. Because we have the money, we can build the school, which increases our achievement. That money would not have happened if we couldn't have put safety protocol in place and allowed students to pay for room and board to attend the university. Our safety, prioritizing that safety, is allowing us to have the funds to go forward and continue to expand our university.
Thank you, Hadley. Matt, when it comes, I would like to ask you to respond to Hadley. But also in that answer, do you think that that money could have been applied towards other things that would have made campus safer this semester?
Okay, well, I will just start off by saying that while I really am happy that the university is expanding and offering new things, I am proud to be here. It's a great school. I think it is a very kind of a tone-deaf time to announce your $25 million project when you're unsure like what the next semester is going to look like, where people are going to be, what the COVID situation is going to develop into. It just seems like saying, hey, we're building this huge building. Oh, by the way, you all still have to come in, but also do some online classes. Just seems to be a little bit, I don't know, like they have their responsibilities kind of backwards here. Because, you know, Hadley mentioned that having the money means we can achieve forward, but that money comes from, in part at least, the students who pay to be here. We pay to be here and we deserve to have our safety and our dignity respected. Therefore, if you've got all this money floating around, why not help us, put in a plan, put in some work, do something to ensure your population that you're doing what's best for them. At this point, if you have all those fundings, I should not, and my fellow students should not, have any doubt about what's being done. What there is.
Thank you. Finally, I would like everyone to respond to this question, and Matt, we'll come back to you with this. At the beginning of the semester, when it was still uncertain whether or not everyone was going to go back to their respective colleges, one of the debates was about testing the students coming back on campus. A nearby university, Butler University, made the decision to test their students. And according to their information on their website, which was last updated October 12th, they've issued over 7,000 tests since the beginning of the semester. Currently, Now, keep in mind here, Butler has 2,000 more students than Marian does. Currently, they have 10 positive cases, student cases, and 1 positive employee who are all quarantining on campus. The latest information I could get from Marian on my Campus Shield app was from October 4th. Marian did not mandate testing, and the latest information I have is that we have 2 students quarantined on campus, 1 student isolated on campus, 4 students quarantined off campus, and 1 staff member quarantined off campus. So ultimately, Matt, what do you make of this, and do you think Marian University should have had testing?
Well, Ben, I think it's pretty obvious from my points that I've made so far that I think Marian should have undoubtedly and definitely mandated testing. It's, as you've shown from Butler, it's hard to say, but with 2,000 more students and less cases than what we've got currently, it seems that the testing was at the very least effective in making sure that they know who to quarantine and when and why. Whereas here we have to quarantine if it's only suspected. If Marian had put its money where its mouth is and paid and gotten these testings done and mandated, we would be in a better situation.
Thank you, Matt. Hadley?
Yeah, I think this is a great question, Ben. First of all, I'd like to mention that the report right before that sent out by Marian said that we had 0 cases in that week. So there is a natural ebb and flow of cases, and I think that's natural for any university. So to just target that one report, I think, is not a good representation. But the argument to why we didn't test, our commuter population is 50%, and that commuter population is vastly spread across the surrounding area. So compared to Butler, not only do we have a higher commuter population, but Butler's weekend life is very populated because of their Greek life, and they are more likely to congregate on the weekends. Marian's weekend life is very dead, if you didn't know that, especially when there's not a sporting event going on. So in that regard, it wasn't as much of a concern about keeping people safe as far as getting them in those tight-knit environments that they shouldn't have been exposing themselves to in the first place. I think you're really comparing apples and oranges in that situation.
Thank you. Enrique?
Thank you, Ben. And simply enough, I think Marian should definitely had mandatory tests. It's evident to show that they had, as was mentioned earlier, they had money, able to at least 25 million, I forget the billion or million, to spend on a new engineering school, which will not be expanding anything. Will not be expanding to new programs, but it will. It had that money and it should have used it to test, because they still were holding other things like sporting events and in-person classes. Sporting event practices. My bad.
Thank you. And finally, Lydia.
I don't think they should mandate. They should not mandate testing, because first of all, it's a waste of supplies, but that's not necessarily relevant to today's debate. But more importantly, being negative today does not guarantee being negative tomorrow. You're tested on a Thursday. Well, you were negative on that Thursday. What if you catch it later that night and you're negative 2 days later? That test is not going to reflect that. It's not accurate. It's a waste of supplies. It's a waste of our time. And I just want to clarify, Ben, did the info that you got from Butler show quarantine information?
Yes, it said that those 10 students were actively quarantined.
Okay, I just wanted to point out that Marian also releases who's being released from quarantine and isolation, which I think is a great morale booster, first of all, because we're seeing that people are getting better. The people who are sick are getting better. But about testing, again, testing negative today does not mean testing negative tomorrow. It's inaccurate.
All righty. Thank you, everyone, for your responses during that time. We will now be moving into the final portion of our debate, the closing remarks. Going in the same order that we started, I would like each debater to please offer your 1 minute's worth of closing remarks and ultimately tell us why you've won today's debate.
All right. Thank you, Ben. I will just say one final time, thank you for everyone for being here. It's always great to be debating. I'm going to run you through the resolution and my points real quick and tell you why my side should win. So The resolution today was Marian University values achievement over safety. And the points I made were that the safest option at this point is to go online. The fact that we're not proves that Marian, at least in part, values our achievement over our safety. I've also talked about how our COVID response is not as strong as it could be. There's still options left on the table here that, if taken advantage of, would make us all safer. But the fact that they haven't and still have us in classes to get the best out of our education means that they want us achieving more than they want us safe. Among everything else I've mentioned, that is why you should vote for the affirmative in today's debate.
Hadley?
Yes. So my biggest argument looking to today's debate, as again, I stand in negation or opposition to the resolution, Marian University values achievement over safety, is that you have a house. A house has a foundation. And in order to have that house standing upright at all, that foundation has to be sturdy. Safety serves as the foundation of Marian University. And the house is the achievement that Marian University has therefore gathered and collected. The achievement cannot stand without safety being a primary and first and foremost concern. We have seen this not only with the present state of COVID, but also the present and past state of physical and emotional health, which I brought up in my first constructive. So time and time again, we see that safety is foundational, and therefore without safety, nothing else could even be possible.
Enrique, we'll go to you next.
Thank you, Ben. So I will, with all this, I will talk about basically why we should vote for negation. I have shown basically why what Marian has done to disvalue safety between the false promises that they did at the beginning of the school year to get students to come on board, and then once students are on board, the bad response to COVID spreading through them. The only that has been the changes in safety has happened. The only things that been proven from the opponents have been a change in achievement towards the better have been in the engineering school, which would not be actually adding any new things, just replacing a program we already have. It goes to show that even in the metaphor used by my opponent, house over say a house being achievement, safety being a foundation, that in that metaphor the house is still over the foundation, so the achievement is still over the safety of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Enrique. And Lydia, would you please bring us home?
All right, I'm going to start my time now. I just want to start off by mentioning something one of my opponents said, that learning is an achievement, but achievement requires learning. You can't do anything and be successful at it without learning how to do it first. Which brings me to the fact that today, Hadley and I, or the negation, have shown that learning requires safety, which you've seen, which we've proved in the sense of the online delivery for classes and peer services, such as the Writing Center, and all of these and the classes and everything are online. It shows they care about our success, but they want us to succeed safely. If they didn't care about our safety, they wouldn't have these procedures in place. And after Hadley and I both addressed the Campus Shield app and the emergency procedures and the police and what they do for our safety, in addition to COVID safety, because safety is, again, much bigger than just COVID right now. So as negation has shown today, that Marian values safety just as much as achievement, if not more. So there's only the vote for the negation.
All righty. That concludes today's debate. Thank you, everyone, for watching at home. However, as we know in debates, they don't stop at the final word, which is why today we want you, the at-home audience, to have a vote in who you say won today's debate. The website that you should go to vote today is pollev.com/Drew Stewart 334. There, you can vote for who you believe won today's debate.
Ben, can you repeat the web address again, please?
Absolutely. It is pollev, pollev.com/Drew Stewart, DREWSTEWART 334. When you get there, your screen should look something like this, and you can go ahead and skip the add the name part. And then ultimately, you end up voting for who you believe won today's debate, the affirmative or the negative.
And I would just like to make one final reminder that the affirmative into debate is me and Enrique, and the opposition or negative is Lydia and Hadley. I know I get those mixed up sometimes.
So again, audience, we ask you to please go to that web address, pollev.com/DrewStewart334 and vote on who you believe won today's debate. And there we have our live results. Those are live. Oh, they were there. There we go. We have our live results. As they continue to come in, the bar will change, and we'll leave that up for a few minutes and ultimately make a decision on who won. So for the audience at home who watching, please go to the web address shown at the top of the screen and vote whether you believe the affirmative or the negative won today's debate. As we're doing that, I'd like to extend a reminder to our audience that there is a third debate showcase that will be coming up later this semester. On November 2nd, there will be a third debate showcase. So we hope to see you again, that you come out and support us for that third debate showcase. Details to come soon, and we hope to see you then on November 2nd. Thank you everyone for coming out today. It looks here like we had a negative win. And again, thank you for coming out. Thank you for watching our debate. Thank you for supporting the Marian University Speech and Debate team. And we hope to see you again on November 2nd. All righty. Good job, everybody.
Good job.
Good job, everyone.
Yeah,
Also,
seriously.
my mouth hurts from trying to pretend to be composed for like an hour. So thanks for that.
Okay, so let's go over to the Norman Center for food.
Ooh, we like food.
Upstairs, right?
It's probably going to be where we were meeting, because that's where it was the last time, at least.
Yeah, just Drew. Let's go look for Drew around the Norman Center.
Cool.
Did we decide to put writing down here for third or going now?
I'm not really sure.
Also, I found out we were still live when we were talking about food. Ray was like, yeah, the live video was still going.
It said it turned off.
No, that's what I thought. Oh, I love that. Awkward. She was like, you're talking about food and you're live still. And I was like, I need that.
Good.
Thank you. That was a good debate.
Mm-hmm.
Actually bumpy. I wasn't expecting it to actually be bumpy.
Yeah.
Also, it sucks that all your classes are online. I like
Oh,
not
campus.
online. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I meant. I like all of my start hybrid.
Yeah, no. Mine
like,
are all
the education majors are in that boat. So I guess like I don't think about that. I think all the science majors are the ones who are in person. I don't know. I kind of wish mine were in person though, but also because